Alright guys, today I want to talk to you about bait tanks. If you've seen my videos, then you might have seen that video I made using a 55-gallon drum or a 55-gallon plastic barrel to make a bait tank. But today I want to talk to you about turning an old chest freezer into a bait tank. And as you can see, I got a chest freezer right here. I went down to an estate sale and I found this chest freezer. It's 122 cubic feet, and it was they were asking $50 for it. So I went ahead and bought it. And initially I was just going to use it because it works fine, but I decided it'd probably make a better bait tank than just a regular freezer for me and for my needs. So there wasn't really much modification that I had to do to it. There's only a couple of things that I got for it, and I'll show you that. But the only thing that I did is inside there was a couple of joints, and I'm not even sure that it needed it or not, but I just bought some aquarium grade silicone sealant, and I just went over anything that may possibly be a potential leak in the future. I would have liked to add a drain plug to it, but I didn't, and so I just used a regular old-fashioned siphon to clean the water as I need to. But let me show you how I keep it aerated. So there's two things here. Inside of the freezer, you're going to find this. It's a pond aerator, and I bought this at Lowe's. This actually cost me about $100, but it's a filter system and an aerator all in one. So I'll take that out and I'll show it to you here in a minute. The other thing I have is this little machine here, and if your kid has ever been sick and had to get what they call a nebulizer treatment, this is what this is. I go to the flea market or a yard sale and I look for these, and I can probably pick one up for $5, and I got to tell you, this is the best bubble maker or aerator that you can get. It puts out way more than a regular fish tank pump would, and for the price of a used one just somewhere, you might even have one laying around your house, but this is a real good investment. So all I do is I take the hose and I hook it up to a little bubble soapstone, or whatever they call it, air stone. So now let's look inside of there. Alright, so I've got two lines coming in here. This is the one This is the one from the nebulizer, and it's just the little bar that I told you about, bubble maker. And you can see it's making bubbles, and it does pretty good. The second thing I have in here is that pond aerator, and this is the filtration system, and it's pretty cool because it has a light on it, so you can actually see them at night. Alright, so here it is, if you can see it. Let's go ahead and pull this out and you can see what it's made up of. Alright, so this is it right here. It's just a pond aerator with a built-in filtration system and these LED lights on top, which is pretty cool. It comes with this little lily pad looking deal, and what this is the intake. This is the air intake, and it's supposed to float around on top of the water, and you can do that or I just hang mine outside of the freezer. The only thing that I want to tell you is if you don't clean this thing regularly, and I clean mine about once a week, if this thing gets backed up, it'll start throwing water out of here. So if you have this hanging out of your freezer or your bait tank, it'll actually drain it. If this is sitting on the bottom, it'll drain all the water out through here. So make sure you keep an eye on this and keep it clean regularly. Now this is just the lid that comes off. It just clips on each side right there, and then this piece pops off like that. Then you get to the filter, which is right here, and you can see it's already due for a cleaning. And then it has these little things that are supposed to neutralize the water and take out the chemicals for the fish. So I'm just going to clean this up real quick and put it back together. Cleaning this up is no big deal. It just takes a couple minutes to do. Turn off the water. Back on here. Just snaps on. Snap this back on. Let's do this way. Alright. And we're back together. That's how quick and easy it is to clean this thing. So let's get back to the tank. Alright, so let's get this thing put back in here. Now I like to keep this one on a big freezer like this. They have it has a shelf, and I keep it on the shelf. I don't put it all the way on the bottom. And the reason for that is this thing. If this thing starts to throw water like I had said before, it won't drain it completely empty. It'll only drain it to the shelf. See, they want you to have this on there floating around like that, but I just hang mine out the side. So plug this thing back in. And there it goes. Starting to work. Alright. I use these together. I have this one all the way on the bottom, and that's if this thing ever decides to drain out by accident. I have an air supply for the fish, and then I can come back and fill up the tank. But I check it daily just to make sure they're all right, and I always clean that thing, or I do my best to clean it at least once a week. If you have common carp, they're pretty dirty fish, so they'll clog up that filter pretty quick, depending on how many you have in your tank. And they're also jumpers too, so make sure you keep the lid closed. I do close the lid and I keep it cracked open just a little bit, so there's some air circulating through there. Let's go ahead and give these guys something to eat. I'm sure they're probably hungry. And the food that I give these guys, you can see it right here. You just get it at your local feed store. It's nothing fancy. This is, I think it's called just a regular fish food or something like that. But it's just these little pellets. They're little bitty things, and they float. And these guys already know what it is. Alright guys, so if you're thinking about setting up a bait tank and looking for some ideas, hopefully this will help you out. The freezer works great because it's insulated. It keeps the water temperature a little bit cooler, especially in the summer days. You don't have to worry about them overheating. Also, if you guys want to change the water in your tank, I recommend don't empty the water completely, because you'll shock your fish. Leave at least a third of the water in there, and replace 2/3 of the water, and that'll be enough for the fish to adapt, and they can handle that without going into too much of a shock and potentially dying on you. So the aerator, the nebulizer machine, that thing works excellent. I've had this thing running non-stop for I don't even know how long, months probably, and it works just fine. So I always keep an eye out when I'm out at a yard sale or at a flea market. Pick one up. Like I said, they'll probably charge you $5-10 for one, and it'll beat any kind of pump that you're trying to put on there, especially for the price. One thing I didn't tell you is I keep this ice chest on bricks to keep it off the ground, to keep it from potentially rusting out or anything. So like I said, carp, they're kind of dirty, trashy fish, so make sure you keep the filter clean. If you have other fish in there, they might not be as dirty, and you might not have to clean the filter so often, but they do like to jump, so keep that lid cracked. I've actually kept it open about maybe 1.5 inches or so, and they've managed to jump right through there. So I only put this little lid, this little coffee lid, and keep it open, what is that, 1/2 inch, so they don't get away, so they don't jump out. But hopefully this video will help you guys if you want to make a bait tank for yourself. So as always, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.